All right, welcome back to the Horse Hooky Handicapping Podcast. The Dream Team is back. I'm Jim Watkins Jr., and this is Jamie Gavilski. How you doing, Jamie?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Obviously, we're missing big game James, so we got little game James here, and Jamie. Could be a decent card here, Jamie, but we might have a lot of rain in the outlook, it seems. So seven card field again. We do have a few bigger races with the 10-horse field in the second, the 2-year-old race, a few 8-horse fields. So could be a decent card. We'll see what we have gambling wise.
Hopefully not washed out.
And right now the track's a little damp, and we'll see if we get any more overnight to see if we're running. Hopefully I'm not the jinx of getting the races canceled again this week. For starters, before we get into the races, let's thank our sponsors here. First off, FanDuel Sportsbook and Horse Racing. Thank you, Alex, for doing this for us. Also, the Illinois HBPA, and as well as your locally owned Taco Bell, Columbia, Troy, and Waterloo. So shout out to John Maroney. Appreciate being one of our sponsors. So we'll get right into it. We got seven races here. So race number 1 is going to be a $3,200 claimer, now winners of 2 of the year in 2024. Going 6 furlongs. We got a 6-horse field. Where are you at, Jamie?
So first race, I went to the 5. Horse comes down out of Chicago. Was running at the fairgrounds before that for Lala Rodriguez. Beautiful breeding on the horse. The horse was in good form towards the end of December and into January, and then kind of fell off. I don't know what happened, but the horse kind of drops down to the lowest it can drop. The horse is 1 for 3 here at FanDuel at a higher level. I think it finds a lot of its friends here today. I went to the 3 next. Josh Appleton's the trainer. Gets the bug. Rashawn Blanche. Charles Davis is the owner. Horse looks like this is the right spot for it. Had a trouble trip last time. Was caught wide. Dueled for 3rd. And the winner ran off in that race. And then you go to the 2, Shanghai Point. Seems like Gerald Butler can't do anything wrong right now. Gets the top rider, drops to the lowest level. It was running allowance optional 5,000. Finally goes down to the right level here and probably picks up some pieces here. I went to the 5-3-2 for my picks. How about you, Jimmy?
I'm 6-2-1 in the first race, but I want to talk about that 5 a little bit too. The reason why I shied off of them, if you look, 2 of its wins, one of them here and then at Fairgrounds, got a solo lead. Potentially, I think, could be on that solo lead, but I'm just a little worried that maybe the 3 and the 4 go with him there. So I backed off a little bit, just thinking that maybe he gets somebody else out there with him.
Sure.
So that's why I leaned on the 6, Alan Abbey, Harry Lynch, Javor Simpson. Went up to Chicago after running in this condition 2 back and ran a very good second by a head to one way home. Went up and ran 4th by 6 in Chicago for that claiming 5,000. A little bit tougher horses in that group, but a similar condition here. I just think sitting off a pace that you might see 2 or 3 horses go out there for that lead, I think this horse is going to be mowing them down late. So 6 on top. You mentioned Shanghai Point. I like this horse in the exacta. I do like a 2-6 exacta. That's going to be one of my big bets of the day tomorrow. Shanghai Point, like you said, dropping down in this condition, finding some horses that should be very competitive with. I think that's going to be beneficial. And then I went with the 1 road game in 3rd. Part of the reason this horse is just always top 3. Had one mistake, 1 hiccup there, 2 back, but other than that, first, seconds, thirds all over the board on this horse. I think should be right near the pace and right near there on the finish line. So I went 6-2-1 here in the first race.
Gotcha.
All right, we're on to race number 2 that I mentioned, 10-horse field here. This is a maiden special weight, $12,000 purse for 2-year-olds. So going to be interesting going 4.5 furlongs, seeing 10 2-year-olds break out of that gate. A few horses that have ran. Looks like there's 3 horses that have starts so far, and then you got 7 first-time starters. So where are you at here in race number 2, Jamie?
So race 2, I went to the Experience, went to the 2. Cool thing, horse has been running against the top-level horses in open company up at Hawthorne.
And I think that made 32 up there is catching a lot tougher 2-year-olds than this race is going to have here today. So.
Absolutely. And he's an Illinois bred. Been running against, like I said, open company up there, and you're gonna, you catch the likes of Ravelli,
Chris Block,
Wayne Catalano.
You get Indiana bringing some horses over too.
So I went with the experience here. I think that makes a big difference with these 2-year-olds. I went to the 2 Cool Thing, Harry Lynch with Javor Simpson up. Then I went over to the 10 horse that's owned by one of our sponsors, John Maroney, Calbred, Stay Thirsty, top sire in California, Steve Manley. Horse looks like it's had some pretty nice workouts here, going 4 at FanDuel. So it's been over the track, draws Travis Wales, top connections in the jockey department. And then I went to the 7. My buddy Brooks. Your dad and I picked this horse out at the Keeneland sale a couple years back. Breeding's great on the horse. Had a nice work last time from here at FanDuel. Was entered a couple weeks ago when it was hot and they canceled.
Yeah, we kind of brushed over that with him. Is that the one reason I think this horse can be very useful in the future. But the one thing my dad tends to not do very well, it's those 2-year-olds and those first-time starters especially. So I'm going to give this horse a free pass this time, and we'll look to see the next few starts how it does. So,
the horse has shown a little life in the mornings, and you get Santiago, who's excellent from the gate and with speed. So I threw our horse in third, even though Jim Watkins isn't great with 2-year-old first-time starters. Sorry, Jim.
Maybe,
what do you got,
Maybe
Jimmy?
sometime in the future. So I'm also on top with the 2 Cool Thing. Harry Lynch, Javor Simpson. So if you're following and paying attention, that is the daily double that I have for Harry Lynch and Javor Simpson. I think this horse, like you said, 2 starts already at this distance, 4.5 furlongs, a solid third, decent fourth against probably much tougher. But and the other thing to note is last year they had a horse, Coogan, who's a full brother to Cool Thing. Coogan, 45,000, had a very good 2-year-old meet at FanDuel last year. So I think that's definitely beneficial, plus the 2 starts. I definitely like the 2 if it can break well out of the gate there. For second, I went to the 8, Bikini Martini. Always fun names from the S&M Price barn. The mare Bar Hoppin', if you recall, has thrown quite a bit of good runners. Just to name some, Hammered, Little Bit Tipsy, Tiz Hoppin', I Love This Bar, and Bar Money are the 5 best that it has thrown. And I think you're going to have another situation here where they got another good 2-year-old with Bikini
He's
Martini.
25% with 2-year-olds too.
Yeah, and so Eddie's always going to have that horse close. He's got another one, the 5 Halo Honey, that also has some good half siblings too. So keep an eye out for those 2. And then third place, I went with Teg War, John Wainwright, Rainier Arietta, another first-time starter. I did some digging there with that horse's mare as well, and actually had a half-sister win at Gulfstream, made special weight as a 3-year-old first time out yesterday.
Okay.
So Mrs. Gambolini, a half-sister to Teg War, was a first out winner at Gulfstream, maiden special weight. So that horse has already made 25,000. So that's something to kind of go off of, and maybe this horse also is going to have a good first out of the career. So I'm at 2, 8, and 3 in race number 2. All right, we are on to race number 3. Race number 3 is going to be a 7-horse field, optional, claiming 10,000, now winners of 2 live for Colts and Geldings, going 1 mile. 1 mile. What do you have here, Jamie, in this race?
So, full disclosure, this is the last time I'm putting money on this horse. If it doesn't win, then I'm done with it. I went to the 3, Tiz Wow, Gabe Bertana, Victor Balon up. Horse just keeps continuing to break my heart. It's run second, third, second this year here at FanDuel. I'm giving it one more shot.
Horse is a cash checker for sure.
He
gets scared of the winner's circle.
He gets in the money a lot. He just doesn't win. So I went to the 3 first, Tiz Wow. Then I went to the 6, Arietta and Heather Iron. Breeding's unbelievable. Good magic out of a Stephen Got Even mare. Think the horse might have been a little over its head. That 9-2-12-5 on the turf there at Indiana. Some of those races come up pretty tough. I do like the horse going a route of ground. Arietta's a top rider here with Bendezu and Travis Wales. Heather Iron does a good job in a small sample size. I like this horse to run second, be right there. Then I went to the 5, Wicked Gus, Marvel Straub, I have a tough time betting horses back off huge main scores like this. The horse drew off and won by 10.
That was a very impressive maiden win. Just got at the top of the stretch and never looked
the
back.
way I look at it is, if it's going to beat me, hopefully it beats me by a bunch. But I don't see this horse opening up and beating this bunch by 10.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be fading from the lead like they did in that last start.
So I went with the 3-6-5 in this spot. How about you?
So I'm exact same here in race number 3. Usually I know the past few times I've been on, Tiswell has been in, and I've said got to prove to win until I go with it. But this time I think it found a field that it can beat. There's always the past few times, last time was Crepe Yarns and Iconicus. I think those were two horses that I was just looking at that probably wasn't going to be good enough to get past those two. But I think Tiswell found a spot where it should be able to get up and get for the win. And especially, too, if we're with an off-track, this horse, 5 starts on the off-track, 1 win, 4 seconds. So definitely something that's going to fit this horse well, going to be right there on the pace early and often. And I don't think there's a ton to really go with them. I think maybe the 7, you saw 2 back, going a mile, started from the outside post, went up there and got that lead early to pressure Tiswell. But I think Tiswell is going to be the one to get it done tomorrow. I did go to the 6 for second. You mentioned that turf race. I don't think it liked the turf much, and it says impeded at the start. So most likely spotted him 10, 15 lengths right off the bat and just could never recover from that. But if you look back, 1 for 1 on a sloppy track, breaking the maiden there, and then also going a mile 70 when they claimed him, had a good third at this distance. So I like the 6 for second. Then I did go Wicked Gus for third. You mentioned that 10-length winner. Definitely impressive. They're throwing back one of them he beat, Marvel Straub's other horse, Solomon Vandy, who's a maiden in this nominators of 2 life condition. But I think this horse should be picking up some of those horses that might be pressuring that pace with Tiswell to get a piece of it. So I'm also 3, 6, and 5 here in race number 3. All right, so we're on to race number 4. Race number 4 is an optional claiming 5,000 event. Non-winners other than or non-winners of 3 live for Colts and Geldings. $14,000 purse. This race also going 1 mile. We have a 6-horse field here. Jamie, where are you at here?
So we just talked about Crepe Yarns in the last race. He won that race last time out. I'm going back to the well, looking for 3 in a row here with Crepe Yarns. He's the 3-horse. Also off track, more than likely tomorrow with the weather coming in. Candy Ride, that breeding suggests sloppy. We'll love the slop. Then I went to the 6, Lonesome Dream, Dennis Higgins with Kim Sampson aboard. Horse doesn't mind an off track. He's 6 out of 7 on wet dirt. Never won on wet dirt, but he's 6 out of 7. Looks like this is the right spot for this horse.
And he's been in this condition for a while.
Forever.
You're starting to see signs of life popping up the last 2 starts, and Kim had a good second on the last time.
The horse has done nothing but improve from its first start 4 back. I've looked for this horse to run a big one. Then I went to the 1, actually, Carte Blanche, the 8-year-old Ralph Martinez trained horse. Gets the Bug Girl going a mile. Horse ran pretty well for first time out at Hawthorne, and it's done nothing but improve. Probably finds the right level here. Even though it's an optional 5,000, this horse is going long. This is probably the only race they could get to go long for this horse down here.
Yeah.
But the weight helps. Horse doesn't mind an off track. I look for this horse to pick up the pieces and run a decent third. So I went 3-6-1 in this spot.
I'm a little similar. I got the 5 on top, One Way Home, Ralph Martinez's other horse. 18-time winner. So that's definitely a plus. 11 starts over the off track, 2 wins, 4 seconds, 1 third. Already has 2 wins on the year here.
Yeah.
And I think this horse tends to do a little bit better if it can get out there and go on its own. And there potentially you might get some pace from the 4 and the 6, but I think the 5 is probably the fastest horse in this race. So I'm looking to see the 5 potentially get out and be a solo leader here and potentially never look back. As you see 3 back, it got a solo lead and ended up winning by 17 lengths first start out here at FanDuel. So I'm with the 5 on top, One Way Home. I did go to the 3 Crepe Yarns for second. Like you said, really hasn't done anything wrong. 2 wins and impressive. And if that pace comes back just a little bit, this horse is going to be flying down the stretch. So tries a little tougher, but we'll see with in the nominators of 3 life condition here. how this horse does. So I have a 5-3, and then you mentioned the one Carte Blanche. Came back over from the East Coast, was kind of middling, had a few good efforts in the past year and a half while I was out on the East Coast. If you remember, this is one of my dad's former horses, was ultra consistent down here and in Chicago for about the 6 or 7 starts we had him. And you see getting back to Chicago the last 2 starts, a second and a third again. So I think the one is going to be right there too. Loves Fairmont or FanDuel, 5 starts, 2 seconds, 1 win, or two wins, 1 second, 2/3 out of those 5 tries. So I think Ralph, first off the claim, he's got 2 live ones in here, so he should definitely pick up a lot of pieces in this race. So I am 5-3-1 in race number 4. All right, race number 5. This one is a maiden claiming 4,000, fillies and mares, $8,000 purse. 8-horse field here going 6 furlongs. I struggled to find something in here, but what about you,
Tough
Jamie?
little race.
What did you got?
So since I couldn't find anything, I went straight to the 3. Second time running this cheap. First time it lost the rider, so we can throw that out. Until this horse runs bad at this level, I got to stick with it. Top connections, Becker and Ritter, Bendezu. So I went to the 3 here first out. Then I went to the 4, Spirit Smoke, Mike and Jody Durham, another dropper. Horse was just at Lone Star, running maiden specials. Ran some decent races at Will Rogers for 7,500. This is the bottom here. You draw Travis Wales, great rider. I went to the 4 second, and then I went to the 6, Cupid's Hope. Has run in this spot a couple times, ran a decent second last time. Probably runs a second or third this time. So I went 3, 4, 6 in this spot, and like I said, pretty bad race, to be honest with you. Tough to pick a winner. You could throw a dart at the board and guess here.
I mean, if you find a price in this race, maybe that's the play to go after. I'm the exact same here, 3, 4, 6. I know we've talked about Just at Midnight the last 2 times I've been on the show. Obviously, first time at this level, losing the jockey, and then last time was in this condition, they canceled the races. So I'm back on the 3, Just at Midnight. I think with this spot, we revert back to that 2nd by 14 to Spicy Delight for the State Bred Maiden Special Weight. And I don't think there's anything in this race that can come close to that performance. So that's why I'm with the 3 on top. I did go to the 4, Spirit Smoke, in second. Like you mentioned, those Will Rogers races going a mile. The numbers say that those are the 2 best races run in this field. So I think this horse should be right there. Tried the turf at Lone Star to Maiden Special Weight. That was just too tough of a condition. So comes back down here, drops to the bottom. That's why I have the 4, Spirit Smoke, in second. And you mentioned the 6, Cupid's Hope. I think picked up some pieces in that last race and probably should do the same here. Looking at it, if you're looking for maybe potentially get something at 6 to 8 to 1, the 1, Molly's Temple, is dropping a lot. Tried the turf 3 times there up in Chicago this year with nothing, but those are maiden 20s, maiden special weight 32,000s. Didn't show a whole lot here at FanDuel last year, but potentially with this maiden 4,000 drop, that could be one that you might be able to get a decent price on for Steve Manley. So I am 3, 4, and 6 in race number 5. All right, we are on to race number 6, another optional claiming 10,000. This is a non-winners of 2 other than or non-winners of 4 life condition for Colts and Geldings. $16,000 purse going 6 furlongs. We have a 7-horse field here, Jamie. Where'd you wind up?
So I went to the 5. I went to Dan's a Taxi. Top connections, Becker and Ritter. Horse won its last out against similar. The horse ran against my third choice and got beat by it. 4, and Sunny's Not So Sunny, 2 back. But I think this horse, Dan's a Taxi, turns the tables this time out. So I went to the 5 on top, Dan's a Taxi. Then I went to the 7, Girolamo's Glory. We talked about the off surface. This is a gritty, older horse that loves an off track. Looks like it's, this is a pretty common spot for this horse. This horse has been in this position for the last, 8, 10 races.
Yeah.
But if it's, an off track, this horse definitely fits, and it's drawn back in distance back to 6 furlongs off that route race. So I looked to the 7 to run second, and then I went to the 4, Sunny's Not So Sunny, Don Bentler. This horse has won 2 in a row. I think this Danza Taxi turns the tables on this horse. I think he wins, and I think the 4 will run second or third. So I went 5-7-4 in this spot. How about you?
Well, I definitely think Danza Taxi is the horse to beat here in this spot. But with the sloppy track, if you look back to the first start of the year going 5.5, didn't get the lead, and I think there's 3 or 4 speed horses in this race that are going to go. This horse ended up fading to run last, or 8th out of 10 by 11 lengths. So I'm going to try and beat the 5, even though I think it's probably going to be your favorite and the horse to beat. I'm going to try and beat it, and I did go to the 7, Girolamo Glory, for Lori Plaster's Corey Orm. We mentioned off track, 6 starts, 3 wins, 1 second, 1 third. Reverting back from that mile, should have a little bit more of a closing kick getting to the 6 furlongs. With all that pace and this horse liking the off track and having that closing kick, I think Corey Orm is going to get this horse there for the win. I think you might get a decent price on this horse, maybe 6-7 to 1. Just seemed, you got four of those second thirds in the past, late last year and early this year prior to that route race. Those are some tough horses that were on top of those races. So I'm going to go with the 7 on top, Girolamo Glory. I went with the 4, Sunny Is Not So Funny, for second. You mentioned pretty much everything that I'm liking with this horse. Beat Danza Taxi 2 back. It's going to be on that pace, but you're looking at 2 in a row for this horse. I think right there, off track, potentially does have a win on the off track, 2 out of 6 in the money. So I did go the 4 for second. And then third, I went with Gold Smoke, Eddie Essen Price, Victor Balin. Another one that's coming back off that mile race last time, didn't show as much. And if you look back, those 2 starts on the program that it did have a mile, not as good versus comparable to all the short distances. So I think with this speed, you're going to see Gold Smoke and Girolamo Glory come flying with the 2, 3, 4, and 5 all going out there. So I'm 7-4-1. I'm banking on the wet track, helping out and bringing the speed back and getting those 2 closers up there for a piece of it. So hopefully that 7 gets a decent price for everybody. So 7-4-1 and race number 6 for me. All right, on to race number 7. The 7th and final is an optional claiming $5,000 event. Non-winners other than or non-winners of 3 lifetime, $14,000 for Colts and Geldings. 6 furlong distance here, 8-horse field. Where are you at, Jamie?
So went to the 4, Phillipsburg again, Gerald Butler, Santiago. Butler can't do anything wrong this meet. It seems like he wins with everything. Claims him for 4 and wins the allowance condition. I mean, he's a magic man. I went to the 4, Phillipsburg. This horse has been running against better up in Chicago, winning. He was right there for second last out. Claimed him off Lalo Rodriguez. This horse looks the part and is probably going to be right there win this race. Also doesn't mind the off track. I went to the 2 next, Wildwood Reuben, Top Connections, Top Jock and Travis Wales. Horses 1 for 1 on an off track. Just don't know if it's good enough to beat the 4. And then I went to the 1, Lake Mills. The only question mark with this horse is, it's been running at this level, but this is a little bit better bunch than it's been running against. Furthermore, it's over 3 on an off track. Yeah. So I went 4-2-1 in this spot. How about you?
I'm similar. I'm 4-2-3. I know you talked about Phillipsburg. First off the claim, there's 2 worries. First time over the track, first off the claim. I think that's the only chance that this horse has to get beat. Been running against tougher. Going to be right there on the pace. I think it's much the best. This is my best bet of the day is the 4 Phillipsburg. Like you mentioned, Gerald's been on fire. As long as he doesn't regress this horse very much, should be your winner here in race number 7. So I have the 4 on top. I did go with the 2 Wildwood Reuben second, Scotty Becker, Travis Wales. I don't think this horse has done anything wrong. I just think the 4 is a little bit better. It's probably not going to pay much, but a 4-2 exacta seems pretty realistic for me in race number 7. This horse, 7 out of 8 in the money, 1 for 1 on an off track. So going to be very tough as well, the 2 horse. And then I went with the 3, Larry the Poet, Jose Rodriguez, Emmanuel Giles for 3rd place. One worry here is if you look, the 2 wins that this horse has on record, both of them wire-to-wire fashion. I don't think this horse is going to get a wire-to-wire trip here tomorrow. So we'll see, but has been running against a lot better. That allowance non-winners other than definitely tougher, and then 2 back was about 8 lengths off of Phillipsburg. So I think not going to be able to run down the 4, probably not the 2, but if you're looking for a decent price there in the trifecta spot, I think the 3, Larry the Poet, gets up to get third place.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at, 4, 2, and 3 in race number 7. So tomorrow, we'll see. We're going to have a lot of rain, probably overnight into the morning. Hopefully those bands come through, and then the rest of the stuff shows up after the races are over.
That'd be nice.
That's the hope. The track is a little bit damp right now, but it is not raining currently. So the goal is to just get the races in, and then hopefully we'll let all the rain come down on Tuesday night into Wednesday. So I'd like to once again thank our sponsors, FanDuel Sportsbook and Horse Racing, the Illinois HBPA, and the locally owned Taco Bells of Columbia, Troy, and Waterloo, and John Neroni. So everybody, good luck tomorrow, and thank you very much. Dream Team out.